All right, stand by. So some quick housekeeping. Welcome everyone thank you for being with us today. We do have the ability here in this webinar to chat, to interact. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. If you're with us on the Zoom, please feel free to chime in to the chat. You can put questions. We will answer the questions at the end, but feel free to put them down as you think of them so you don't forget. And then if you're with us on Facebook, we will answer those later because we can't possibly monitor multiple platforms here at the same time. Our goal today really is to introduce you to the opportunity of expanding your property's potential through an accessory dwelling unit. And I want to introduce today Rafael Pozas, who is a real estate developer and an ADU builder. A unique individual that has really focused their practice in the ADU space, which is just this incredible expanding, new, trendy, hot space. That's trendy for good reason, because it's an opportunity to just earn really above market returns. And we'll look a little bit at that. I'm Jordan Bennett. I am a real estate broker. I've been practicing for over 12 years. Sold more than $250 million of real estate in the last decade. I'm an active real estate investor myself, so this is definitely a passion. And one more housekeeping item. Please do feel free to hop on calendly.com/Jordan Bennett for homes, and you can book a call or a Zoom, and happy to dive deeper into the weeds with you on these topics we're going to discuss today. And you can also go to our website, orangecountyrealestateservices.com, and sign up for our newsletter so you can keep in the loop on what's happening in the OC real estate market. So having said that, Rafael, thank you so much for being with us today. This is going to be more or less kind of an interview style presentation. Can you tell us, for those out there that are not familiar with what is an ADU, why don't you tell us, just give us the basics in a nutshell, what is an ADU?
Okay, thanks for the invitation. My pleasure to talk about this subject. An ADU is the accessory dwelling units, the technical name. It's an independent unit that you can have in your backyard. Can be from 150 to 1,200 square feet size, and depending is a state law. And also ADU, there's different types of ADU. Can be an attached ADU, which is attached to the existing house, a detached, totally separate, a garage conversion, and also a basement, which is not usual here in California. And these are the types. You can build above the garage. There's several types of ADU. Basically, you add square footage to existing house and property.
Fantastic. And Rafael, what would be a reason that somebody may consider putting an ADU, on their residential property?
There's several reasons. What I've noticed working in the industry, it's most of my customers are senior residents looking for a retirement plan, finance plan. They have the space they're not using. They love to live where they live. They don't want to move for more affordable places. So they have a good, some of them a good credit scores and equity in the house, so they can do put out money from the house to build the unit, rent it out, get the extra income, or even an option to live in the house and rent the bigger house. This is one of the main reasons. There are also investors. I know flips are very popular, but basically flip, you just update what you have, what it has in a house. But with the new ADU laws, we call the small scale development. You can basically transform a single family house into duplex or triplex. So it's a very good opportunity to make more a return on investment.
Yeah, what I love about this concept is you're literally taking existing lot size and maximizing it, right? I mean, one of my core values personally is maximizer. I love to maximize things. So this
Yeah.
is such a cool idea. It almost is like, it reminds me of kind of Airbnb, Uber. It's this idea of what do they call it? Just the sharing economy, right? Hey, I've got this
Yeah.
land. Let me put some another accommodation on it, and now I can make some rental income, right?
Yeah, yeah, and this is exactly what made me feel interested about it. If you see the slides, we have a lot of single family zoning areas,
Mhm.
and what we're missing middle housing like a duplex and triplex. When I moved to United States, I was a real estate developer building high rises in Brazil. And when we target the United States and we started to research the market, I noticed that the cost of the price of the housing was very high, is very high, but also there's not so many lot opportunities, and people complain about there's not enough land. And when I started to research the market and I see the way California was developed back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they create a lot of single family areas
Mm.
with tiny houses on it, like a 800 square feet house in an 8,000 square feet lot. Uh, so there is a lot of land, but the land is the way it was developed, and I can blame it. You can blame people, but the necessity back then was totally different. But the fact is that there is land, but it's not well distributed. So this SB 1069 law, the ADU law, in a way came to fix that problem. So now we have a lot of land waiting to be developed in good areas, good locations.
Yeah, you said something to me, Rafael, at one point where it's almost like you're putting the onus of building enough housing directly on homeowners, versus on big companies and developers. So it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, that's why the ADU it's becoming popular over the years. Just give you a data. In 2016, there was 117 ADUs here in California, and 2019, 3,000, more than 3,000 ADUs so far after the new law started. And the reason it's popular, it's because it's not like the other developments, real estate developments, that it takes the whole community to discuss big areas. This is coming from individual and less bureaucratic, and that's why it's growing. The point is that when I create the Plus Home, and the reason that I create that, it's because basically the state gave the homeowner the power to supply the housing inventory. And but the homeowners they don't know how to do it because it's not their jobs, so
Right.
we create the Plus Home to help them to build and supply the inventory to the market.
That's great. And when you think of the possibilities, right? Only 3,000 ADUs in California. I mean, gosh, there is just a tremendous room for growth in this space. So that's exciting. And we did talk, right, a little bit here about kind of the differences between an attached, a detached, and a junior ADU. And then of course, some of the benefits, of an ADU. Do you want to speak a little bit to, some of these benefits that you've seen in your development?
Yes, basically, like we talk, increase property value. Also, what the one of the things that also it's fantastic about this is that the single family home, which the name saying is for a single family, and like a father and mother and the kids, and the houses that we have available are made for them. But the point is nowadays we have a lot new users in the market, like temporary workers, student housing. If you go to Orange County and most of the houses around the universities, they are renting rooms for $1,000 and not even rooms adapt to their necessity. That way you can create a niche, market niche, building ADUs specific for this type of users, you know. Which is, I heard that some of the students that I was doing a podcast and the host was a student, and she said something that very interesting, that ADUs are prime accommodation for students.
Right.
If they're renting rooms, imagine if you have 300, 400 square feet, high walls, ceiling, vaulted ceiling, made for their purpose. So it's much better accommodation, and I think this will transform the market. It is transforming already, but I think it would be there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the greatest things, and I know we'll get into this at the end with some case studies, but the thing that's really exciting is the ROI potential, right? Because I think what you find in Southern California is you're going to get somewhere between, in a 3.5% and like a maybe 5% on the cap rate as far as investing in, in rental property. If you want more than that, we find people going to the Inland Empire, maybe you're going to get 5 to 6%. You want higher than that, you got people going out of state, going to places like Indiana, Ohio, Texas, places like that. But I think a lot of people have that concern of going out of state into markets they don't understand. The ADU is allowing people to increase their potential return and still stay here in this obviously super desirable area, which is also prone to, as we've seen, a lot of appreciation, and stay in Southern California. So I think that's a really neat thing, and look forward to seeing some of those case studies here as we look at the end. Yeah. So, and and we talked about some of the benefits of a homeowner, the multi-generational.
The homeowner basically they have the land already, they're there, so the return on investment, of course, is higher, and also not only that, they create other alternatives like family living options. Imagine have to deal with the student housing, the student loans, and
right.
You have your own kid living separate but in the same lot that you have, so you can use the same property for different phases of life, cycles of life, which is good. And for the investor, I think is the greatest opportunity in real estate since the last decades. You basically transform one house into 3 houses, and this is
and the incredible thing
I don't need to explain that, right?
Right. Well, and it's like you said, the land here, I mean, so much of the value of real estate is in the land. So if you already have that existing land and you can add square footage, it's pretty remarkable. So I know you have kind of an example here of something that is an existing home and a shed, and you go ahead and
go to the first slide. Look, this is this is the proportion of the properties, most of them, especially the old houses, and this is a tip that if you look at the age of the house, you can tell the proportion of the house space and the lot, because the industry it's fixing this ratio over time. So the newer the house, this proportion is it's better. But this is the example. You have a small house in a big lot, and you can do you can add a detached in the back and also a junior ADU with the existing area, something like that. It's more proportional, right? You still have a lot, still have the landscape, but you have more construction space and with a less cost for the owner, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess here's just a 3D version
the
of that.
animation. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's great. So let's look at some rules and regulations. I mean, I think we can, anybody watching this or kind of following the whole ADU progression will be able to intuitively see that obviously it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for lifestyle. You can put grandma in one of these, mom and dad can, you know, live with you if you're at that stage of life, or if you're an investor, you can create some, you know, some pretty remarkable returns. Let's look at jumping through the hoops to actually accomplish this. Tell us a little bit about some of the minimum criteria to be able to build an ADU.
Yeah, but before that, Jordan, I think it's important to mention that this is a state law, okay, and some cities are doing some pushbacks because they are not they don't agree with that. They're not you know, they resist for that. This is very important because this is a new scenario. There's a lot of gray areas. But I can tell you, since I involved this in 2017, that every year they waive a little detail here and that, so it's becoming more easier for the homeowner or the investor to work with that.
Like the cities were initially pushing back quite a bit on this because they didn't necessarily want this happening. But you're saying the state's the ultimate authority, so they can push back, but they cannot stop it.
Yeah, correct. And the reason they do that, first of all, the cities needs to provide some number of housing to the state, and the cities, that most of them are behind the numbers. They're not doing that. So this is a way they can they help them to provide the numbers they need. So I think it's a win-win situation. But some cities are super traditional. They worry about density. But again, it depends the way you're gonna work with that. So some cities that are more friendly, they're organizing architecture professionals to design, pre-design units to help to keep the same layout for the community, you know, things like that.
Right.
There's a lot of things been doing for that, which I believe is the best way to do it, because people need the housing and they cannot pay the way it is, the cost the way it is, have to go lower.
Yeah. So in you know, being respectful of time, a couple things that, you know, I kind of want to dive into, just I'd say 3 areas here. One thing I'm sure people are curious about is the size, you know, what is allowed. And then the other 2 I'd like to focus in a little bit, you know, to have you speak to is the setbacks and the parking. So if you could just
I go over the items real quick. First of all, minimum 150 square feet, maximum 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
The junior ADU, it must be an existing structure up to 500 square feet. Okay. Parking space, you need to add 1 parking per room. But if you are up to 0.5 mile from a bus transportation, a public transportation, you don't need to add parking for that. Setbacks, if you go up to 800 square feet unit, you can do 4 feet side setback and rear setback. So if you go up to 800, you have an advantage to make a bigger, use a smaller lot. But if you go more than 800, then you have to follow the development standards for that area.
Fantastic.
Some rear setbacks are 10, 15. In terms of heights, up to 35, some cities. And again, you have a state law, but I suggest to the homeowners and the investors, even with the state law, check with the city, have a draft to show, asking if it's possible to do it like this or like that. So I think it's the best, it's the safest way to do it. So if they have something to comment on that and restriction, they're gonna tell you right away. Ownership, it is about some problems in the beginning of the law, because you're not allowed to, you build the ADU in the backyard, and then what is the term? I forgot the term in English. I missed the term.
Okay, well, we can come back to it.
Yeah. What is that? The ownership.
Title?
Yes, title. So I'll come back later.
Okay. No, I don't want to cut you off, Rafael, but I just wanted to really quickly touch on the ability to rent. I know at one point it seemed like when ADUs were first coming out, I was hearing that, oh yeah, you had to have a family member or you had to be occupying the property.
Yes, that's correct. It's about living in the unit. Thank you so much. Yeah, and this AB 881 waived that for 5 years. So you can rent both of them, which is totally game changer for a real estate investor.
Absolutely. And will that stay, Rafael, or do you think at the end of 5 years they'll revert it back?
It's a good question, Jordan. It's hard to answer, but based on the other laws, the way that they changing, I think they're going either renegotiate that for more years or waive at all.
Okay. Good.
That's my feeling, because at the same time you have SB 1120, which is the lot splits, which is I'll say it's a baby of the ADUs, that's almost past the last year. And I have some friends that advocate for ADUs in the public sector. They keep telling me that is going to pass. And if you will.
Yeah, can you speak a little bit to that? Because that sounds like a pretty interesting thing coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, it's something to do with the ownership, because people say, build an ADU, can I sell it separate from the house in the future if I want? And the answer is no. But the lot splits, it's a new bill. They suggesting that, yes, you can split a lot in two with minimum of 2,500 square feet. Each part of the lot is split equally. And you are able to build 2 units in each lot.
So this would dramatically change real estate as the way we know it today.
Yeah. No, and that's why if you're a real estate investor, I can tell that'll be a big game changer. And the law passed, the votes, they got the votes necessary to pass, but not enough time, because in this legislature protocols, you have to get the signatures until the 12 o'clock of the day. So if you don't do it, go to the next year. And meeting with the Casita Coalition, also it's a non-profit organization that advocate for small housing. I'm a member. I asked these questions for the year webinar they have, if the SB 1120 will pass, and the answer is yes. The people say that there's a good possibility that this is going to happen.
So this is a good thing to follow, SB 1120, because this will be yeah, will have a
Yes.
remarkable impact.
Yeah.
I want to jump ahead a little bit to try and kind of stay on our time target here. So, one thing I'm sure people are curious, what does it cost to build one of these? And we always know in construction, it's like when you ask an attorney a question, they're going to say it depends. When we look at construction, of course, it's going to depend on finishes, where's the power, where's the gas, all these different things, right? But just to
Yeah.
give us some ideas, I think you're going to share with us a couple case studies. So why don't you why don't you walk us through this
Yeah.
500 square foot attached ADU?
Yeah. This is a 500 square foot attached ADU in Huntington Beach. It costs 200,000, and I can tell the homeowner initially the idea is to live in a house, so he built all custom made stuff, high end, good quality, soft closing cabinets, vaulted ceilings, 10-foot high walls. Very nice, one bedroom, and it costs 200K. This is attached unit. An attached unit is challenging. It's more challenging because you have to connect the new roof with the old roof, and it's not easier as if you build a detached, totally independent unit. It's easier to plan and that there's this observation. But the important thing here is that you can build. Of course, the contractor needs to make money. Needs to be a good contractor, licensed, insured. When you go shopping for that, you have to make sure he's going to do what he promised to do. It's very important. But the cost will depends on two things basically: the size of the unit. The size of the smaller the unit, more expensive per square foot. Easy to understand because the kitchen and the bathroom are the most expensive items. And if you share these expensive items in a smaller area, it costs more per square foot.
Yes.
You spend less money because it's a smaller area. So the return on investment could be more, could be higher, depending on the location, if you build a smaller unit. That's why I suggest to start the project thinking about how much money can I collect per square foot in my area. That will determine the size of the project and the characteristic of the house. Because people think that the bigger the unit, more money I'm going to collect. And sometimes it's not true, especially in nice areas. This is one thing. The other thing is that the type of materials you're going to select.
Yes.
And that you can have, I can't tell if you choose good stuff, it would be more expensive, if medium or lower.
Right.
And again, depending on how you're going to use it. For example, the other case I have to show you is about investment property. And the investment property, the most important thing is make sure the investor knows that it's not a flipping. It's not a flip that you put the material and in 3 months you're going to sell it and that's it. You're going to keep the property. So you need to make sure that all the investment you put in there, for example, the roof, you have a 10-year warranty price for roof, 15, 25 years. You have to deal with these situations to make decisions. And the investment property could cost a little more per square feet than a flip. Just things like that you have to
factor in,
make the decision. But this is the example, a 1,200 square feet home in Lake Forest. The customer asked us to jump in and calculate the cost for update the whole house and to add the junior ADU and an ADU. And we started just with the junior ADU in the existing garage. and the cost for update the whole house and the junior ADU is $285,000. The purchase price $556,000, and approximately rental income $6,000 a month. So roughly you have 8.56%.
Yeah, which again, like we talked about earlier, I mean, normally you're going to get 4 to 5%. So I mean, this is a dramatic increase, especially like over time. And of course, the other thing we know is that rents, they go up over time, right? So if you're talking about a going in cap rate of 8.5%, I mean, you normally would have to go to Alabama to find that.
Yeah, but this is just half of the way, Jordan. Imagine if you add a 800 square feet ADU, detached ADU in this lot, because you can do it. How much you're gonna add to this number?
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
remarkable.
just a junior.
Yeah, so that is yeah, those are two great scenarios. I mean, so really, as an ADU investor, somebody who's planning on finding something that would be, a good fit for this kind of project, what maybe are, I don't know, 2 or 3 things that an investor should keep in mind as they try and identify the right property to accomplish this?
I would say the location, but not only location as a whole, but for example, if you believe that we're missing a student housing on the walkable distance areas from major universities, would be a very nice thing to have it. Okay, and then if you are in those locations, okay, what kind of products the students desire, like to make specific products for them. I'll give you an example, a simple example. Today, the students, they live in the rooms and share the kitchen, right? And the entry door is the same for everybody. So you can build a 3-bedroom ADU in the backyard, having independent entrance for the door, for the bedrooms, for example, in a way that they have more privacy. Put sliding doors in the bedrooms instead of windows. So small details like that can make that product custom made to the niche that you're working on. So that can help you increase the return on investment. This is for sure one thing. Another thing that I suggest, of course, cities with bigger lots. There's some right in my mind, like Fullerton. There's huge lots out there. Also, corner lots, it's good because if you have 2 units or 3 units in the property, you can distribute the units better in the property. Because I believe that some of customers ask, I'm afraid to add an ADU and lose the value of my property because there's 2 houses, renters. First of all, I don't believe that because of the rent and the cash flow.
Yes.
And second, I think if you do a project that you integrate very well those new units, you can make it most of it. You can make a good thing. If you plan, if you do a nice project that you have all separate in a way, you can have the cash, you can have the value in the property. And I'm not a magician, a visionary, but I think if we follow the growth of the numbers, in a few years, we have a lot of ADUs, and we are able to compare the value of each one. It'll be easier to sell in the market.
Yeah, still difficult to value. I think appraisers are still trying to figure them out, how they apply, on residential property. But like you said, this is a growing trend that's going to become normalized, and not too far out. So before we hop into a couple Q&A questions, wanted to just maybe, in 2 minutes or less, tell people, how they can find you, and in relation to kind of the architecture, the design, the construction, tell us really what is your sweet spot? Where do you work specifically in this process, and how can people get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, my phone number, I think, is in the slides. You can connect through you as well. My website, which is www.plushomegroup.com, Plus Home Housing Solutions. My phone number is 949-266-4701. We do it all. Since we create the business to help the homeowners, we have to do it all. So we design, we build, and we maintain. We help with our real estate development experience. We not only design what the customer wants, but also we're able to tell what is the best investment for that specific area. Number of bedrooms, where to put the windows, because my whole life I designed for myself, like a spec, I create a product and sell it. So I learned how to create things to be successful, and I transfer all this experience to the homeowners, to the real estate investors, so they can have a good product and well build it. I think if I tell what is my advantage for comparing with the others, I see a lot of contractors doing it, but not the real estate developers. And I just described the plus on that. But also I do everything in one stop shop. You don't have to go to an architect and then go to contractor and then go to the city. We do it all. We just we separate the process in two phases: the design phase and the construction. So we do the design, you get the plans approved, and you're not tied to us at all. You can, after the plans, if you want to go somewhere else, you can go. Of course, we want to build it. That's our business. And normally what happens is that we end up building it because we create a relationship, and that's how it goes. And that's why I like to work, because I'm at the same time, I'm not tied to any customer if somehow something happen along the way. But yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do, and we're happy to help the homeowners.
Fantastic. Well, really appreciate your insight and guidance on this, and for spending the time with us today, Rafael. We'll hop into just a couple questions before we wrap up. One question I know we had was, are there, and I know I've discussed this with you before, so I think I know what your answer is going to be, but are there areas where this is a better idea and areas where maybe it's more difficult as far as geographically speaking?
Yes, I would say when we do a real estate development, you have two ways to do it, basically. Develop a new areas that is not developed yet. There is a lot of risk, and also you have developed innovative products in existing good location areas. The reason that I jumped in the ADU world is because it's developing products to existing good location areas. So and good location, it's area that is already established, well known, close to stores, college, good rating schools. If you have a space and close to these things that I just described, you have a great product, potential product in your hands.
Fantastic. And another question, Rafael, regarding multifamily. Let's say you're dealing with an R2 lot where you've got, a duplex. Can you add an ADU to a multifamily property?
Yeah, the multifamily property is a little different. It's 20% of the units that you have. And regards the parking space, it's not it's specific. So you have to consult. The law is not specific. I think because you can have different types of multifamily projects, but you have to follow the rules. When you do a multifamily project, sometimes you see a good opportunity, but then you go to the parking spaces, then you see that you're not able to buy it because of that. You have to make less of it. So, and to be honest, I think I focus my research on the single family because I think this is a great thing in this law is take a R1 into 2 or 3 units, and hopefully in 4plexes after the lot split bill. But basically 20% of the units, the number of existing units you can add with ADUs.
Okay, fantastic. Well, really appreciate your time again, Rafael. And with that, we will call it a day here and end the webinar.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate anytime I'm here.
Thank you so much, Rafael. Thanks for joining us today, and hopefully this inspires you in expanding your investment criteria. Have a great day.
Bye.